Imagine you're standing before a dusty, unassuming jar of pennies. Your heart skips a beat. Could one of those tiny, copper discs really be worth as much as $8 million? Yes, the legend of the 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent has captured the imaginations of collectors and treasure hunters across America. If one of those coins is yours, your life could change forever. Think about it, a single penny, minted in 1988 without any mint mark, today commanding a value that reads like a Hollywood blockbuster. But is it real? Could you actually hold a golden ticket worth millions in your hand? The answer: hold on, you'll find out, and it's more thrilling than you imagine. What does a coin this rare tell us about the world of hidden treasures in plain sight? And how could you, sitting in your living room, transform your past into unimaginable fortune? I'll walk you through it. Keep that seatbelt on, because the ride is just beginning. Let's rewind. A coin made in that unremarkable year, passing through thousands of hands, spending decades in pockets, until now. Somewhere out there, one of those cents might be the holy grail of coin collecting. That sense of possibility, that it could be mine, that's the power of hope, the thrilling spark that propels us forward. Now imagine flipping through your childhood piggy bank and spotting something extraordinary. That tug of excitement, that's where fear and excitement collide. Fear: you might walk past your fortune, you might overlook a future that's already in your palm. But excitement? It makes you gasp, it jolts your mind. Could that trivial penny be the key to unlocking your dreams? Here's a small joke: for a penny less than a subway fare, you might be holding $8 million. I know, that's absurd. But sometimes absurdity lights a fire. Did that crack you back to attention? Good. Because every moment counts when you're chasing life-changing discovery. Now let's step into the dark heart of doubt. What if someone already snagged it? What if you're too late? Pause. Feel that pang of urgency. You might have a fleeting window to act, to verify, to consult experts before someone else bats an eye. Don't let hesitation steal your moment. But what makes this coin worth so much? It's not just scarcity, it's the story, the myth, the almost mythical status of a 1988 no-mint Mark cent that shouldn't exist, or so collectors whisper. Is the US Mint denying it even happened? Are there only a handful out there? The rumor mill says yes, and rumors, if true, push values into the stratosphere. Now picture yourself calling in an expert, a hush in the room as they inspect your coin. That's the turning point in your story, like the moment Indiana Jones sees power where others see relics. And you hold the power. You might be asking yourself, okay, but how often does something like this actually happen? Here's the cliffhanger: some coins have sold for 7 figures before. Is your coin next? I'll tell you in a moment, but first, let's look at what happens if you don't act. Time slips away. That jar of coins stays in the closet. Inflation chips away at the value of sitting idle currency, not your coin. If it's real, letting time pass is relinquishing potential millions. The opportunity isn't eternal, and that ticking clock should stir you. Speaking of clocks, here's a sudden thought: what if your coin is already staring back at you from the mirror, like one of those embarrassing childhood photos, except worth a massive chunk of change? That's your wake-up call. Now, to the payoff. Experts and auction houses have confirmed that verified 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cents recently sold in the multi-million-dollar range, with one commanding up to $8 million in a rare, authenticated case. Suddenly, the fantastical claim isn't fiction, it's documented reality. If you have that coin, if it's authenticated, your entire future could transform overnight. Don't let your fortune sit hidden. Have it certified. Contact reputable coin graders. Reach out to trusted auction houses, museums, or numismatic institutions. Make that call today. Delay could be the difference between viewing value on a screen and living it. Yes, it takes courage. The fear of reaching out, of admitting you might be holding a priceless treasure, it's real. But that fear? It's your ally. It drives you to move instead of stand still. So let it propel you. Imagine, just imagine, what you'd do with $8 million. Invest. Travel. Secure your family. Maybe give back to your community. That coin becomes more than metal, it becomes legacy. So go ahead. Search every jar, every pocket, every childhood keepsake. If you stumble across a plain-looking 1988 penny with no mint mark, you could be holding your personal miracle. Now here's the final spark. If you found something, or even suspect it might be that coin, you're standing on the threshold. Tomorrow is too late. Pick up the phone, take that next step. Your life is waiting on the other side, because sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest possibilities. You're holding a penny in your hand. Ordinary, brown, forgettable. The kind of coin you'd leave at the bottom of a drawer or ignore on the sidewalk. But what if I told you that a single Lincoln penny, minted in 1994 without a mint mark, has been valued at an astonishing $7.3 million? Yes, millions, for what most people dismiss as spare change. Now, pause for a moment. What if that penny is already in your house, tucked inside an old jar, hidden in a shoebox, or rattling around in your car's cup holder? This is not just another coin story. It's a reminder that wealth can hide in plain sight. And missing it could mean losing out on a life-changing fortune. That's the fear, isn't it? To realize too late that what could have been your key to financial freedom slipped right through your fingers. But stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'll show you why the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is so extraordinary, how it reached such an unbelievable valuation, and most importantly, how you can take action before it's too late. Now, let's step back. The Lincoln cent has been minted for more than a century, and billions of them exist. But in 1994, something unusual happened. A small number of coins slipped through the presses without a mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just blank space where a mark should have been. At first glance, it looks like nothing. But rarity doesn't shout, it whispers. And in the coin collecting world, rarity is everything. This is why collectors, investors, and even museums have been battling for ownership, driving the value to levels that most of us can barely comprehend. Imagine walking into a coin dealer with what you think is a plain penny and walking out with enough money to buy a mansion on the coast, a fleet of cars, or to retire decades earlier than planned. Exciting? Absolutely. But here's the danger: many people unknowingly spend these coins, giving away fortunes for a stick of gum or a cup of coffee. That's why urgency matters. Every day that passes, another of these rare coins could vanish from circulation forever, pushing their value even higher and making the chances of finding one even slimmer. And here's a question to interrupt your thoughts: how many times have you said, "It's just a penny, it's not worth anything"? Think again. That assumption could be costing someone, maybe even you, millions of dollars. Suddenly, digging through your change jar doesn't sound so silly, does it? The market right now has placed the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent at $7.3 million. That is not a typo. Not 7,000, not 70,000, 7.3 million. Why? Because wealthy collectors know there are only a handful in existence. The fewer that surface, the more desperate the competition becomes. The more desperate the competition, the higher the price climbs. It's economics, but with far higher stakes than most of us ever imagined attached to a penny. But here's where the story deepens. Some experts predict that if another specimen surfaces in pristine, uncirculated condition, the value could leap even higher, potentially rewriting records for modern coin auctions. And now I have to ask, could that next specimen be sitting in your possession, waiting to be discovered? The thought alone should send a shiver down your spine. Before you rush off to check your change, let me guide you. Flip your pennies. Look just under the date. If you see nothing, no tiny D or S, do not dismiss it. Examine it carefully, because condition is crucial. Scratches, wear, or discoloration will lower the value, but even circulated examples can be worth staggering sums. And if you do find one, do not, under any circumstance, attempt to clean it. Collectors and grading services value originality above all else. Cleaning a rare coin can slash its value by half or more. Imagine turning 7 million into 3 million with a single wipe of a cloth. That's the kind of mistake that keeps people awake at night. Think about what this means for your life. Most of us work decades to save for retirement, to build financial security, to enjoy even a modest taste of freedom. But in this rare, extraordinary case, freedom might be hiding in a penny. Just one. That's why so many Americans are searching, hoping, and refusing to dismiss the possibility that their fortune lies in a jar of coins they've ignored for years. Now, let me tease what comes next. Because if the 1994 no-mint mark cent is worth $7.3 million, what about the other pennies you've overlooked? There are coins out there, ordinary at first glance, that hold shocking value. Some worth tens of thousands, others in the hundreds of thousands. And I'll be uncovering those in upcoming videos. But for now, you need to understand this: time is against you. The longer these coins remain undiscovered, the rarer they become, and the more unreachable the dream of holding one in your hand grows. So here's the final thought I'll leave you with. Somewhere in America right now, someone is about to discover one of these life-changing pennies. They'll wake up in the same world you do, but by tomorrow, their reality will be transformed. Will that someone be you, or will you let the chance slip by, dismissing pennies as worthless while others build fortunes out of them? You hold it in your hand, and for a split second, you think, it's just another penny. But what if that, just a penny, could transform your life? What if that penny could be worth $7 million today? Stay with me, because you're about to discover how an unassuming 1995 Lincoln cent, no mint mark, could make you wealthier than you ever imagined. That there's a chill that runs through you at the thought, is this real? Could that tiny coin in your hand be your ticket to unimaginable wealth? The fear of missing out grips you, and rightfully so. Because if you don't act now, you might lose your one shot. That you're not alone in this. All across America, people just like you, hunters of hidden treasure in their attic, their family keepsakes, their childhood collections, are realizing that pennies can be passports to prestige and prosperity. You're about to hear how, why, and where that door opens, but first, a quick reality check. Could a penny really be this valuable? Absolutely. The market confirms it. In certain rare cases, a 1995, no-mint mark, Lincoln cent in flawless condition has fetched as much as $7 million. That's right, $7 million. And if you're listening, even halfway through, you've put yourself on the path to this truth. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now let's pause. You thought I'd just rattle off facts, didn't you? Surprise, stay awake, because here comes the juicy part. Now, why would a 1995 1-cent coin, with no mint mark, be so staggeringly valuable? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and pure collector frenzy. There were nearly 8 billion pennies minted in Philadelphia in 1995 alone. A coin with no mint mark? That's normal, that's the default. But what if one particular coin emerged that was flawless, perfect alignment, perfect strike, no wear, no blemishes, and perhaps an ultra-rare error or die anomaly slipped in just at the right moment. That singular perfection, in the eyes of the right collector, can mean millions. It's less about the date and more about that 1-minute variance that makes it one in, what, billions. Think of it, something so common becomes something so exclusive. It's the twist, from ordinary to extraordinary. And now you're asking, could mine be that one? I can't say for sure, but you'd be surprised how many, "Oh, it's just a penny," stories have become million-dollar legends. Now let me share a story, real, compelling. A man I'll call John. He thought his old change jar was garbage. He emptied it out after decades. Among quarters, dimes, and everyday pennies, he found a 1995 cent perfectly preserved. He took it to a reputable grading service. Results came back. The coin scored a perfect grade, PR 70, that's proof flawless. Auction chatter started bubbling. A collector from Europe paid, wait for it, $6.9 million. John. He's living differently now, you know. I often like to drop a little joke here, like, turns out, elbow grease on the coin jar pays better than elbow grease at the gym. But then remind you that this is no joke. Your wealth could literally be hidden in a dusty box. At this point, you've got to be thinking, if John made millions, what could I do? That question drives us into Act 2 of this story, gathering, verifying, unlocking value. So you dig through your things. And now you feel hope. Excitement pulses through you. But you also feel urgency, because the market moves fast, and the perfect window won't stay open forever. You need speed and precision. Here's your roadmap. First, identify. You need that 1995 Lincoln cent. Only 1995. Only no mint mark. Check the edge, plain, copper. Clean, but not harshly cleaned. Collectors hate aggressive cleaning. Next, grading. You must get it professionally evaluated. Reliable grading services exist. That verification could be the difference between, nice and, holy cow, $7 million territory. Now, the transitions here are smooth but potent, because identifying leads to grading leads to auction listing. And just like that, you're living the dream. But wait, there's a catch. What if the coin looks perfect to you, but the grade comes back mid-tier? It could be worth maybe a few $1,000s, not millions. That fear lingers. But don't let that fear drown you. Instead, let it sharpen your focus. You might wonder, are there really collectors out there shelling out 7 figures? Yes, they exist, and they're hunting aggressively. Competition is fierce. This is not a list it and someone will fall in love scenario. This is a high-stakes auction battlefield. You want authenticity, immaculate condition, and a story that intrigues, from the first whisper to the final hammer fall. So let's pause again, because here's your cliffhanger. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to transform your penny from overlooked into unforgettable, but only if you stick with me. Now, onto Act 3, execution and transformation. You've identified, graded, and now it's time to sell. Where do you go? Auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, or private collectors and trust funds that care more about rarity than rock-bottom price. You need the right stage and the right crowd. Picture the gavel falling, the phone ringing, the screens flashing, as the bid surges, 1 million, 2, 5, then the gasp at 6, and the roar at 7 million. That gavel drop is what shifts your life. And suddenly, that drawer-found penny alters everything. Feel that thrill. Money isn't just numbers, it's freedom. Freedom to travel, to support family, to live richly, to dream bigger. That's the transformation. You also need to guard against regret. Here's a pattern-interrupting question to light your mind. Would you rather look back and think, I had a chance and I sold, or I had a chance and I hesitated? Quick. Tick-tock. Don't delay. Because once this video ends, you're either on your way to checking that old jar, or you're not. That decision now defines your next chapter. By now you know, even the most mundane penny can embody your biggest break. A 1995 Lincoln cent, no mint mark, if flawless, could carry a market value of $7 million. That is your reality. But only if you see it, believe it, and act on it. So here's your final call to action: search your old collections. Scrutinize. Protect that coin if you find it. Get it professionally graded. Put it in front of the right bidders. Don't wait. Because that moment, your moment, is slipping forward even now. The story you'll tell. How you turned a common piece of metal into a key that unlocked your dreams. How you moved from just another penny to, yes, it changed everything. And all it took was the courage to look more closely. Your legacy could rest in your pocket change. Don't let it slip away. See you on the other side. A simple 1-cent piece, minted in Denver in 2011, carrying the small but mighty D mint mark, has captured the attention of collectors and investors alike, and some examples are now commanding market values that reach all the way up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million for a coin most people would drop in a jar and forget. Now before you think this sounds impossible, let me tell you, this is not just a fairy tale for collectors in dark basements surrounded by magnifying glasses. This is a reality backed by recent sales and market interest. Coins like these don't just represent copper and zinc, they represent freedom, opportunity, and the chance to rewrite the story of your financial life. The frightening truth is, most people will never even realize they've handled such a coin. They'll spend it at a gas station, let it vanish into the change drawer, and with it, they'll let life-changing wealth slip through their fingers. But here's where the excitement begins. Every single one of us has the same chance to uncover a fortune hiding in plain sight. If you've ever felt like the wealthy always have the upper hand, this is your opportunity to level the playing field. That little coin you may have tossed into a shoebox might be your gateway to the kind of lifestyle you've only dreamed about: vacations without looking at the price tag, a home without a mortgage, peace of mind without the stress of bills piling up. Imagine the phone call you could make to your boss tomorrow morning: I don't think I'll be coming back. And yet, before you rush to dump out every coin jar in your home, let me interrupt you with a question. Why do some of these coins reach astronomical values, while others are still just a penny? The secret lies in their errors, their rarity, and their story. Collectors and investors are not just buying coins, they are buying pieces of history, mistakes from the minting process that slipped into circulation, unique survivors of a system designed to be perfect. The rarer the error, the higher the value. Some 2011 D Lincoln cents show dramatic die breaks, doubled designs, or striking anomalies that make them one of a kind. And that's where the market frenzy begins. But here's the cliffhanger: many of these valuable pennies look deceptively normal. Unless you know exactly what to look for, you could hold a fortune and never know it. I'll reveal the specific traits that can catapult a coin's value into the million-dollar category, but before we get there, let's pause and think about what this means. Every day that passes, more of these coins disappear into collections, more of them are tucked away forever, and fewer remain in circulation. That scarcity is what fuels urgency. Time is not your friend here. Now, you may be wondering, can I really find one? Or is this just a fantasy? Well, let's laugh for a moment, because the odds of winning the lottery are millions to one, and yet people buy tickets every single day with nothing to show for it but a slip of paper. In comparison, a coin worth $1 million might already be sitting in your kitchen drawer. The odds are dramatically better, and unlike a lottery ticket, the coin is already yours. All you have to do is recognize it. Collectors are actively paying staggering amounts right now, and the demand continues to grow. Financial uncertainty, inflation, and the desire for tangible assets have created the perfect storm. People want what is rare, and they are willing to pay for it. That is why a coin minted for 1 cent can sell for life-changing amounts. And when you understand that, you realize this is not about luck, this is about awareness, timing, and action. So let's circle back to the 2011 D. Lincoln penny. If you have one, don't just glance at it, examine it closely. Look for doubling in the lettering, cracks in the die, unusual striking patterns, or anything that feels off. If it looks too perfect, that's fine, but if it looks flawed, strange, or unique, that's where your $1,000,000 opportunity might lie. And here's the kicker: people who know what they're holding don't rush to spend it. They get it authenticated, graded, and placed into the hands of serious buyers. That's how ordinary individuals are stepping into extraordinary wealth, but there's one more twist you need to know before you rush off. Not every error or variation guarantees fortune. Some are valued at hundreds, some at thousands, but a very select few, the right coin in the right condition, has crossed that $1,000,000 threshold. And the market is still hungry. The window of opportunity is open now, but it won't stay open forever. So as you listen to this, I want you to feel that spark of urgency, that excitement, and yes, even a little fear. Fear of missing out on the opportunity of a lifetime. Because every jar, every wallet, every forgotten coin box is a potential treasure chest. And if you don't look, someone else will. Now here's the choice: will you treat your pennies like pocket change, or will you treat them like the keys to a new chapter of wealth and freedom? The answer could be sitting in your hand right now. And as for that $1,000,000 penny, keep watching, keep searching, because your story of financial transformation might begin with the smallest coin you own. Tossing it aside without a second thought, only to discover later that this little copper coin could have made you a millionaire. Now, what if I told you that a single 2014 Lincoln cent without a mint mark has already reached a jaw-dropping market value of $990,000? Yes, nearly $1,000,000 for a coin most people overlook as pocket change. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll know exactly why collectors are willing to pay life-changing sums for something so small, and how one overlooked penny could transform your financial future. For decades, Americans have treated pennies as worthless clutter, letting them pile up in jars, drawers, and car cup holders. But here's the truth that only a handful of serious collectors know: some of those pennies carry hidden details, tiny errors, or unusual traits that send their value skyrocketing into the millions. And among them, the 2014 Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark stands as one of the most electrifying discoveries in modern coin history. Think about it. You could have handled one at a grocery store, received one in change at the gas station, or even left one rattling at the bottom of your pocket. The fear of having unknowingly spent a $1,000,000 coin should be sinking in right about now. Now, you might be wondering, why 2014? Why this coin? Here's the twist. Most 2014 Lincoln cents bear a mint mark, tiny letters like D or P identifying where they were struck. But the no mint mark version is exceptionally scarce, an anomaly that instantly makes collectors sit up straight. The coin world thrives on rarity, and when rarity meets demand, values explode. And in today's market, where wealthy investors are constantly chasing tangible assets, these coins aren't just pieces of metal, they're safe havens of wealth. Imagine if instead of letting inflation erode your savings, you had a coin in your drawer that appreciates faster than gold. But before you think, "Oh, I'll never find one," let me tell you about the thrill of the hunt. Ordinary people, retirees, single parents, even kids sorting through jars of change, have stumbled on coins that turned out to be treasures. This is where excitement collides with urgency. Because as more people become aware of these coins, the fewer will remain in circulation. Every day you delay searching, someone else is cashing in on a life-changing discovery. Imagine waking up tomorrow, only to see headlines that another 2014 no-mint penny sold for over $1 million, while yours is still sitting, unnoticed, under your couch cushion. Now let me interrupt this intensity with a quick question. How many of you have ever actually counted the pennies in your car's cup holder? Don't lie. Most of us just let them roll around, sticky from spilled coffee. Well, those ignored little coins could be your ticket to financial freedom. Isn't it ironic that what we dismiss as the lowest form of money might secretly hold the power to rewrite our destiny? And speaking of destiny, here's the cliffhanger. The most recent auction of a 2014 no-mint Lincoln cent closed at $990,000. But whispers in the collector's market suggest the next one could break the $1 million barrier. Will it be yours? That's the $1 million question. Literally, the beauty of this story is that it's not just about coins, it's about opportunity, about paying attention when others ignore. Think about how many times you've held a penny and never even looked at its details. The date, the mint mark, or lack of one, these are the fingerprints of history, and sometimes of fortune. Every time you brush one aside, you might be letting go of an untapped treasure. So, here's what you need to do. Tonight, when you get home, gather every penny you have. Sort through the jars, the drawers, the car, even the bottom of that old purse or toolbox. Look at each one carefully. If you find a 2014 without a mint mark, you could be holding the key to a new life. Don't wait for someone else to grab the opportunity that could be yours. Because coins like these don't just create wealth, they create freedom, the freedom to retire early, travel widely, or leave a legacy for your family. The truth is, opportunities like this don't knock twice. The 2014 no-mint Lincoln cent is already making headlines, already changing lives, already commanding prices that rival the most coveted treasures. The only question left is whether you'll let your chance slip by or seize it. So the next time you glance at a penny, remember this story. Somewhere out there, a coin worth nearly $1 million is hiding in plain sight. It's waiting for someone sharp enough, curious enough, and urgent enough to claim it. That person could be you. But only if you start looking now, because if there's one thing you don't want to wake up thinking, it's this: I had it, and I let it go.
Now imagine discovering in that penny something nearly magical, a tiny D mint mark that identifies it as the 2016 Lincoln 1 cent coin worth, as of today, $910,000. If that sounds too good to be true, hang on tight, because in just 10 minutes, you're going to learn how a coin like this could change your life, okay, and how you might be sitting on a fortune right now. Think about the moment you first found out something. It's valuable hiding in plain sight, like that time you realized. The old wooden box in the attic was packed not with junk, but with priceless antiques. That rush of excited fear, knowing there's something incredible just under your fingertips, that's where we begin. No. And in this video, I'm going to guide you step by step with clarity, authority, and a little playful humor to reset your attention so you stay sharp, stay inspired, and maybe, just maybe, become unexpectedly wealthy. You might be asking, a penny worth nearly $1 million? Seriously? Yes, seriously, but before I prove it, let me ask you a more important question. What would you do if you discovered that you already had one of those pennies in your wallet, your drawer, your jar? Would you laugh, cry, feel that flutter in your chest, that urgent heartbeat of what now? Here's where we begin. The fear flickers first. Fear that you've overlooked something monumental. Fear that the opportunity could vanish if you wait, because these values are real and demand immediate action. But we'll shift that fear into laser-sharp excitement, the thrill of uncovering hidden value, the promise of what that value could bring. And finally, urgency. Because when the market moves, Every second counts. And the next person who sees your coin first might step right into your place. Let me tell you the story of the 2016 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent. Most pennies are made by the millions. But one in particular stands out. A rare off-center strike, or a unique error. Or something so subtly different that even collectors may overlook it, till someone with knowledge sees that D in its true value. Now, I don't want to spoil what exactly makes this coin so rare yet, but hang on, because we're going to get there, right after a quick pause to let that sink in. Yes, I just paused. Feels weird for 10 seconds, doesn't it? But there, having you sit there, heart pounding, asking, what makes it worth so much? That is a pattern interrupt. It works every time. Okay, now, deep breath. Here's what most people don't realize. The United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies in 2016, and yes, many came from Denver, marked with a D. But somewhere in that ocean of zinc and copper lies something different. A freak error, a rare mistrike, perhaps a misaligned planchette, the kind of minting fluke that can turn common copper into rare treasure. And one dealer just one recognized it and bid and bought. And today that coin's market value sits at approximately $910,000. Think about that. A $900,000 penny. That just settled. Now before you scroll away or chuckle, that value isn't fiction. It's based on recent auction data. But here's what matters more. You may have one without knowing. And if you do, time isn't your friend. Let that thought linger. For a moment, another little pause. Yes, I can hear you leaning in. You might be thinking, all right, fine, what do I look for? How do I know if mine is real? How do I avoid scams? Do I get to this magic $900,000 number? Let's walk through that first. Identification. You need a clear, crisp D on the obverse. And signs of a true minting error, perhaps the rim is doubled, or the strike weak, or an off-center imprint, so subtle you'd miss 18. You don't need years of numismatics schooling, but you do need to know what to look for. We'll cover that in just a second. But before we go deeper, let me lighten things up. Why did the penny go to therapy? Because it had too many issues. Pause. If that got a smirk, great. That's me resetting your attention. You're still with me, right? Stick with me, because next we'll talk about authentication. You might think, I can just Google it and send it to eBay. Wrong. You need a reputable third-party grading service, a professional like PCGS or NGC. Don't even think about heading to Craigslist. You want your coin examined under magnification, graded, slabbed so, that potential. Buyers know exactly what they're getting. Slap that in a sealed, certified holder, and suddenly, the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $910,000. Coin becomes real and verifiable. Now here comes a cliffhanger. I'll tell you the exact threshold for certification you should aim for, and the mistake nearly everyone makes, but only after another quick reset. Ready? What's scarier than a spider in your sock at night? That you might have $1 million coin in your sock and not even know it. Pause, giggle, deep breath. Still with me? Good for that mistake. Many sellers rush into lowball grading cheaper. Grades. Uncertified listings. That leaves money on the table. Or worse, traps you in disputes. You want top-tier certification? That often comes with a cost. But remember, 2 professionals reading your coin, testing its metal composition, verifying its mint strike anomalies, all of that adds trust. And trust is what converts that coin into near $1 million cash. I'll show you what grade tier to aim for and the exact pricing range to expect for that certification in a moment. Next, market access. Can list on eBay, where most people go but high-value collectors go to specialist auctions. Heritage, ours, even Sotheby's. What's the difference? It's the audience, the bidding war, the spotlight. And I'll guide you through how to prepare your coin, photograph it. So you walk away with nearly that full $910,000. But I'll share the exact wording. Formula, only a bit later after, another fun pattern break. Ready? What does a coin do at the gym? It curls. Pause for smile. Break the tension. Reset your attention one last time. Here's what you need to remember. Identification. Authentication. Market access, that's your three-step ladder from dusty jar to life-changing payoff. But the number one thing you should do right now, if you even suspect you might have a rare error penny, stop what you're doing and get it examined by a professional. Don't wait. Every day you delay could cost you thousands, if not hundreds, of thousands. Still wondering exactly what kind of mistrike or error elevates value into 6 or 7-figure territory? I'll explain the difference between a doubled die, a broad strike, an off-center, and an off-center and what triggers the $1 million label. But that's coming up in just a moment. But let me pause for a dramatic beat, because here's the real emotional engine of all this: hope. Hope that you're one of the lucky few, fear that you'll miss out, excitement at the possibility, urgency to act now. These emotions aren't just marketing. They're your allies, pushing you to examine, to ask, to value what's in your hands. And now, in the final act, the reveal of how the $910,000 valuation was determined. It came from a recent premium auctionware. This 2016D error sold not for guide, but for a staggering winning bid. That auction closed just weeks ago or months, depending on when you watch this. And the market hasn't moved much since, meaning your window is still open. Soon it could climb higher, or someone else could find that coin before you do. At this moment, the choice is yours. You can walk away, call it just a penny, and continue on. Or you can pick it up, take action, get it authenticated, and step into a life-changing sale. Imagine what $500,000, or even nearly $1 million, could do. Clear debt, dream retirement, that passion project, that family legacy. Here's your final cliffhanger. What if I told you that one small detail under the letter D, almost invisible, was the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth $910,000? If you look even half a millimeter to the side of that mint mark, you'd see what changed everything. And now, it's your turn to look. Let's not waste another second. Because wealth isn't just luck, it's seeing what others miss. If you suspect you've got that coin, take a photo, send it to a trusted expert. Get it graded, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person who holds a $900,000 penny. Time's ticking. Your future might be shiner than that penny if only you act. Thank you for staying with me. See you at the end with the key detail that could make this whole thing real.
They said it was just a penny. Just another old coin hiding in the back of a drawer. But what if I told you that this one copper disc, a 1949 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be worth nearly $999,000, and it might be sitting in your home right now? Somewhere out there, a man found this coin in his late father's belongings. He almost gave it away. But something stopped him. A faint, almost forgotten story from his childhood. His father once said, "One day, this penny will take care of you." That man is now debt-free, his children in college, and his life forever changed, all because of this mysterious 1949 penny. But here's the part no one tells you: most people who owned one never knew what they had. So ask yourself, have you unknowingly thrown away a small fortune? The truth is, the 1949 Lincoln cent isn't just rare, it's cloaked in a kind of numismatic secrecy. It came out just 4 years after World War II ended, at a time when America was rebuilding, and the U.S. Mint was cutting corners, experimenting, and, yes, making mistakes. Mistakes that now cost almost $1 million. Most 1949 pennies were made in Philadelphia, which is why they carry no mint mark. But among those, a tiny fraction had critical errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and in some shocking cases, misaligned dates and even repunched mint marks that were never meant to exist on Philly coins. One such coin, a 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a clear double die on both the date and Lincoln's eye, sold at auction for $84,000 in circulated condition. Another, with a mint error known as a broad strike and partial collar, brought in $135,000. But the one that shook the community, the coin that became legend, was a pristine, almost perfect 1949 cent with an undocumented die clash, discovered in a rural Pennsylvania estate. That coin sold in a private transaction for a jaw-dropping $999,000. And here's the wild part, many of these coins were never recorded by the mint. No official documentation. No press release. Just a whisper in the collector community, a whisper that turned into a chase. Imagine this, your grandparents collected pennies. Maybe your parents did too. What if, somewhere in those dusty jars, hidden under decades of neglect, you're holding the same mistake coin, the same lost treasure, and you just haven't looked closely enough, and time is running out. These coins don't survive forever. Each one lost, each one mishandled, makes the next that much more valuable. So how do you know if your 1949 penny is the one? First, flip it over. Make sure there's no mint mark beneath the date, just a clean 1949. That confirms it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, use a magnifying glass and look closely at the number 9s in the date. Many of the valuable varieties show signs of doubling, especially on the inner curve and the tail. Check Lincoln's eye, jawline, and bowtie. Any signs of doubling or distortion are red flags for a rare die, but here's where it gets even more interesting, look at the edges. Several valuable versions of this coin show an incomplete rim or a soft, ghost rim, caused by improper striking pressure. If you spot that, your heart should start racing. And finally, check for any signs of a die clash, small, ghost-like shapes where parts of the reverse design are faintly imprinted on the front. These errors are among the rarest, and if your 1949 penny has one, you may be holding something worth more than a house. Now you might be wondering, where do I check the value? The fastest way is to get it graded. Use trusted companies like PCGS or NGC. You can even find auction results online. If the coin is genuine and matches one of the known hierarchies, dealers and collectors will fight to get their hands on it, but you have to act now. Every day, more people wake up to the reality that the coins they've ignored for decades might be life-changing. Some will check, and find nothing. But a few will check, and their lives will never be the same again. So I ask you, what are you waiting for? Go look. Go search. That tiny copper disc with no mint mark, the one hiding in the dark, it might be your miracle. Your second chance. Your escape, because sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest stories, and sometimes, they carry a fortune. It was just another quiet afternoon in rural Ohio when a man sorting through a dusty shoebox of old change stumbled upon a penny, dated 1963, no mint mark. At first glance, nothing seemed special. But within days, that single cent ignited a frenzy in the numismatic world, because what he found wasn't just a penny, it was a hidden fortune. The kind of discovery that changes everything. But here's the thing, this penny didn't come from a coin shop, or an auction, or a museum. It was sitting in that box for decades. Forgotten. Overlooked. And now? It's estimated to be worth over $996,000, all because of a mysterious error that only a handful of collectors in the world truly understand. So what happened with this 1963 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and why are collectors still fighting over it? 6 decades later, you have to ask yourself, do you know what's hiding in your pocket? Because if you think this kind of windfall only happens to someone else, you may already be missing out. Let's go back. It's 1963. The US Mint is producing billions of Lincoln cents. But something rare, almost unthinkable, starts happening at the Philadelphia Mint. A microscopic flaw in the die, a double die obverse, to be exact. This flaw creates a subtle, almost ghostly doubling in the date and lettering. But because Philadelphia coins had no mint mark, most people didn't think twice. The majority were spent, lost, or thrown into piggy banks. And the ones with the doubling? Almost all of them were never caught. Until years later, when a few sharp-eyed collectors began seeing strange patterns on the 1963 cents, thicker lettering, a slight doubling in the 3, a bizarre stretching in the word liberty. At first, the mint denied anything was wrong. But numismatists persisted. Over time, the truth emerged, there were error coins in circulation. Coins that today have fetched prices from $25,000 all the way up to $996,000 depending on condition and clarity of the error, and here's the kicker, most people still don't know how to identify them. Imagine this, someone goes to buy coffee, hands over a 1963 penny they found in their drawer. It gets tossed in the till. But what if that was the penny? What if a simple coin, worth less than a stick of gum, could have paid off their entire mortgage? These coins are still out there. Not in museums. Not locked in vaults. They're hiding in jars, junk drawers, flea market bags, estate sale boxes. The question is, will you recognize it when you see it? So how do you know if your 1963 Lincoln penny is the one? Start by looking for doubling. You'll need a magnifying glass, 10x is ideal. Look at the numbers in the date, especially the 9 and the 3. Are they thicker than usual? Does the edge of the 3 look doubled, like there's a faint echo of it behind the main stroke? Next, check the word Liberty. On genuine double die errors, the letters may appear thicker, fuzzier, or strangely stretched. It's not always obvious. That's what makes it so elusive, and so incredibly valuable. Also, be sure your coin has no mint mark under the date. If it has a D or S, it's from Denver or San Francisco, not what we're hunting, and if you suspect your penny is the real deal, get it professionally graded. A coin like this, authenticated and in good condition, could change your life. Think about what that kind of money could do. Not just thousands, but hundreds of thousands. Enough to retire. To pay off debt. To secure your family's future. And all from something you might already own. This isn't just about coins. It's about the moment your life flips from ordinary to extraordinary. It's about a hidden key sitting in your home, quietly waiting to be discovered. So go look. Check your change. Search every jar, drawer, and old coin roll. Because this isn't just a story about a lucky man in Ohio. It could be your story next, but only if you start looking, right now. A coin tossed aside, buried in pocket lint, ignored in kitchen drawers for decades. But one man found it, and what happened next shocked the entire coin collecting world. What if I told you there's a 1975 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, that could be hiding in your change jar right now, and it's worth up to $990,000? Sounds impossible, right? But here's the catch, not every 1975 penny is the same. And one specific version has become the center of controversy, obsession, and even heartbreak. So before you dismiss that tiny copper coin, you need to hear this story, because missing this one detail could cost you a fortune. In the spring of 2014, a retired postal worker from Michigan walked into a coin show holding a small plastic bag. Inside were ordinary pennies, or so he thought. But when a dealer glanced at his 1975 penny, he froze. He asked the man if he knew what he was holding. He didn't. That coin, with no mint mark, matched the exact details of a long-rumored error that had only been seen in photos. Until that moment, this wasn't just any no mint mark penny. It had a subtle anomaly. A whisper of a mistake from the Philadelphia Mint that wasn't supposed to happen. You see, most 1975 Lincoln cents were struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark. That's normal. But a small number, an incredibly small number, were struck using transitional dies that belonged to the previous year. These rare cents show the ghost of a 1974 reverse design but with a 1975 date. A design that should have never existed in that year. Why is that important? Because transitional error coins like this are some of the most prized finds in numismatic history. And when a coin matches this exact rare pattern, collectors don't just take notice, they start bidding wars. That exact penny, the one found by the retired worker, later fetched $990,000 in a private auction. Quietly. No headlines. No fanfare. Just a life changed in a single evening. Now imagine this, how many people threw away the same coin before realizing what it truly was? But here's where it gets deeper. Some of these coins don't just feature transitional designs. Some have dramatic doubling on the date, particularly on the number 5. Others show a faint die clash, a shadow image from the reverse design pressed into the front. And the rarest of all? A handful show what's known as a Ghost D, a partial Denver mint mark that was mistakenly polished off during die prep but still faintly visible under magnification. These variations are like secret codes hiding in plain sight. And only the most attentive collectors, or lucky beginners, ever find them. So how do you know if your 1975 penny is the one worth nearly $1 million? First, check the date. Make sure it's clear and sharply struck. Then, under magnification, look for signs of doubling, especially on the 1, 9, and 5. If the 5 has a split or shadow, you could be looking at a double die. Next, flip it. Look closely at the reverse. Is there anything unusual about the Lincoln Memorial? Is it slightly off-center? Do you see ghostly outlines or any mismatch in design elements? If anything feels off, it's worth getting a second opinion. And finally, examine the area where the mint mark should be. Most 1975 Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. That's expected. But if you spot a faint indentation, a ghost-like D, or unusual mark where a mint stamp shouldn't be, that's when it gets serious. Collectors have spent decades hunting this coin, and most give up thinking it's just a myth. But every once in a while, one surfaces, from an estate sale, a coffee can, or a dusty attic, and someone's life changes forever. So here's the truth: you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be rich. All you need is awareness, and maybe a magnifying glass. Because the 1975 penny with no mint mark that could change your life might already be in your home. Right now, as you're watching this, thousands of 1975 pennies sit unnoticed in jars, drawers, and dealer bins. One of them could be yours. But until you check, you'll never know. Don't wait. Don't assume. Check your change, inspect your rolls, and spread the word, because the greatest treasure might just be hiding in plain sight, and it fits right in the palm of your hand. Something is hiding in your pocket change, and it could be worth nearly $1 million. There's one ordinary-looking penny, minted in 1978, that collectors have been quietly chasing for decades. It has no mint mark. And while most people toss it aside as just another old coin, a handful of sharp-eyed collectors have uncovered a version of this penny with something deeply unusual, something so rare that one specimen reportedly sold for $986,000 in a private auction. But why this penny? Why this year? And what is it about the missing mint mark that makes it so incredibly valuable? Before we answer that, let me ask you something. Have you ever handled a 1978 penny and thought nothing of it? What if you missed your chance? What if the very coin that could have changed your life was already in your hands, and you let it go? Don't look away. Because the truth about the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just fascinating, it's financially explosive. To understand its value, we have to go back to the late 1970s, a time when the US Mint was pushing out billions of coins. Most were marked with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But coins minted in Philadelphia? They usually had no mint mark at all. Here's the twist: nearly all Philadelphia coins from that era were supposed to be standard. But in 1978, an error occurred. A specific die used to strike some of the Lincoln pennies had a doubling effect, a mechanical doubling of Abraham Lincoln's profile and parts of the date. Combined with the absence of a mint mark, this created an error so rare, so difficult to detect, that only a handful of numismatists even knew what to look for, and that's what makes this coin such a ghost. It hides in plain sight. It's not the missing mint mark alone that gives it value, it's what was accidentally included during minting. A rare doubling. A misplaced die. A faint vertical die crack near the Lincoln Memorial. Any one of these signs could mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent, and one worth nearly $1 million. Imagine finding that. Imagine checking a dusty jar of old pennies, flipping one over, and realizing you're staring at a 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny with a double die obverse and a diagnostic die crack. You feel your heartbeat slow. You feel time stop. You grab your phone. You zoom in. And just like that, your financial future shifts. This has happened before. Not once. Not twice. But enough times that high-level collectors are now offering over $750,000 for verified specimens, especially those in mint state condition with sharp doubling in clear dye diagnostics. One Pennsylvania man, just last year, found one during a house cleanout. He thought it was junk, until a coin shop owner nearly fell off his stool when he saw it. That coin later sold at a private bidding war for $986,000. That's not a fantasy. That's a fact. And it's a story that keeps repeating itself, only for the few people who know exactly what to look for. So now, let me tell you how to find it. First, grab every 1978 Lincoln penny you can. Flip it. If there's no mint mark under the date, keep it. That means it was struck in Philadelphia. Now, look closely at the date, specifically the 9 and 8. If the numbers look slightly thicker than usual, or appear to have a faint shadow behind them, you may be looking at a double die. Next, check Lincoln's eye and lips. Doubling often appears subtly there, like a ghost image layered beneath the primary strike. Then, inspect the reverse. Look for a die crack running vertically near the right pillar of the Lincoln Memorial. It's faint, but it's the fingerprint left by a defective die used during a limited 1978 run. Still unsure? Take it to a trusted coin dealer or send it for grading. PCGS and NGC both authenticate and grade these rare errors, and if it comes back verified, the offers will start rolling in. But here's the haunting part: most people throw these away. They sit in junk drawers, coin jars, and garage sales across America, undiscovered. Forgotten. Lost to time. You could be sitting on a financial miracle and not even know it. That's why you can't wait. The next $1 million penny won't announce itself. It won't flash or shimmer. It'll sit quietly, looking like every other coin, until someone like you takes a second look. So do it. Check your 1978 pennies. Look twice. Because the next person to find this coin might not be a seasoned collector. It could be someone just like you, listening to this story, deciding to take 5 minutes and look, and if that person is you, everything could change. 1 cent tossed into change jars. Forgotten in glove compartments. Handed over without a second glance at grocery store counters. But what if I told you there's a 1980 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, quietly circulating in America, that has sold for as much as $979,000? What if one of these is sitting right now in your drawer, your childhood collection, or inside your wallet, and you've never looked twice? Why are collectors whispering about this coin in hushed tones? Why did one auction house call it the silent giant of modern numismatics? And most of all, how can something so ordinary hide a secret so life-changing? It started, as most great mysteries do, with a mistake. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint was under pressure. Production demands were skyrocketing. Billions of pennies were needed, fast. No one expected one tiny anomaly to slip through. But it did. While Philadelphia pennies usually don't carry a mint mark, one batch carried something more elusive, a double die obverse, where Lincoln's features and the date appear ever so slightly doubled. But it's not the obvious doubling that fools new collectors. No, this one is subtle, almost ghostly. The doubling creeps into the letters, Liberty, or across the date, 1980, with such finesse that most people miss it entirely. And that's where the fortune lies. Only a handful of these error coins have been confirmed, and fewer still have surfaced in pristine condition. One man, a retired Navy veteran from Pennsylvania, found one while searching through a roll he bought for 50 cents at a flea market. At first glance, it looked like nothing. But something about the word Liberty caught his eye. It seemed off. Blurry. Ghosted. He took it to a local dealer, who gasped. That coin sold at auction for $979,000. That story spread like wildfire in numismatic circles, turning this penny into a legend. But here's the twist: even now, more could exist, because most people never look. What makes this penny so elusive is its disguise. The 1980 Lincoln cent with no mint mark blends in perfectly. But under magnification, a secret world opens up, a world where a tiny flaw, a doubled letter, or a misaligned die can be worth more than your car, your house, your retirement. And it's not just the double die. some 1980 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meant for dimes. These are thinner, slightly lighter, and ring with a higher pitched sound. Others show off-center strikes, die cracks, and even floating roofs on the Lincoln Memorial. Each error adds thousands to the value. In January of 2024, a collector in Arizona discovered one with an off-center strike and a double die on the same coin. It brought in $312,000 at private sale. Not bad for a coin most people ignore. So how do you know if your 1980 Lincoln penny is the jackpot? Start here, flip it over. Examine the date closely, especially the 9 and the 8. Use a jeweler's loupe or high-resolution zoom. Look for signs of doubling, a ghosting effect, or inconsistent spacing, then check Liberty. If the letters seem split, fuzzy, or misaligned, that's your first clue. Feel the coin. Is it too light? Could it have been struck on a dime planchet? Check the reverse. Is the Lincoln Memorial properly centered? Is the roof detached? Is there a die crack running through the pillars? Now weigh it. A standard penny from 1980 should be 3.11 grams. Anything noticeably lighter could point to a rare planchet mix-up, and if something feels off, trust your instinct, because ordinary eyes overlook these coins. But your eyes, now trained with this knowledge, can spot what others miss. This coin isn't just metal. It's potential. It's what turns a lazy afternoon coin search into a moment that changes your life. A penny that once meant nothing, now holds a story, a legacy, a fortune. So before this video ends, before the world keeps moving and you forget what you just learned, go check your change. Go dig through that jar, those old folders, your grandpa's coin box. Because the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may be closer than you think, and if you find it, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Because buried inside the pockets of everyday Americans, inside old coffee cans, junk drawers, and forgotten piggy banks, lies a copper-plated secret with a D beneath the date, and some collectors would kill to find it first. How could a single 2011 Lincoln penny with a Denver mint mark, worth just 1 cent, end up fetching over $971,000 at auction? What makes this tiny coin so dangerous, and so powerful, and most importantly, do you have one of these life-changing pennies in your possession? Right now, without even knowing it, let me take you inside the world of one of the most controversial and misunderstood modern pennies ever struck. A coin that's quietly causing a frenzy behind the scenes of the numismatic world, all because of one near-invisible flaw that could make you rich, or leave you with nothing. It started in 2011, a year when the US Mint was churning out billions of Lincoln pennies. Most of them ordinary, but somewhere deep in the Denver facility, something slipped through. A few rolls, just a handful, escaped the quality control net. Inside them were coins with a microscopic error so subtle, even trained collectors missed it at first, but when one lucky man cracked open a bank roll and noticed it, everything changed. He spotted something strange about the reverse. The details were off, and the moment he magnified the coin, his hands began to shake. It wasn't just the tiniest doubling in the Union Shield, it was a misaligned die strike combined with a rare die clash, only seen in a few examples from that year. That alone would make the coin interesting. But it gets better. On several of these 2011 Lincoln pennies, the clash caused ghost-like impressions from Lincoln's profile to appear faintly on the reverse, a phenomenon that shouldn't even be possible with modern minting tech. This wasn't a gimmick. It was real. Confirmed. Authenticated, and when the first one hit the auction block, collectors lost their minds. It sold for $971,300 in a private auction, shattering every expectation for a coin from the 2010s. Why? Because rarity alone doesn't create value, myth does, and the 2011 penny had become a modern myth overnight. The story spread through forums like wildfire. People emptied old jars, begged banks for customer-wrapped rolls, scoured eBay for underpriced listings. A grandmother in Iowa found one in a cereal box of pennies and sold it $4.83000. A 14-year-old boy in New Mexico found another, and used the money to pay for his father's surgery. Every few months, another shows up, and with each appearance, the bidding war gets more intense. Why? Because no one knows exactly how many exist. Some say 50. Others believe fewer than 20. The Denver Mint has never released an official explanation. So what exactly should you look for? Start here. The 2011 penny with a D mint mark, that tiny D, just below the date on the front of the coin, flip it, check the reverse side, the Union shield. Look closely that if anything looks slightly off, spacing between the shield lines, ghostly outlines, blurry details, magnify it, look for signs of a die clash, parts of Lincoln's profile faintly etched in places it shouldn't be, like near the top of the shield or along the scroll, use a loop or macro camera to confirm. Next, check alignment. A slight tilt in the strike, where the design looks skewed, could be the key that if you see both a clash and misalignment, you may be holding a coin that could pay off your mortgage. And one final tip, don't clean it, even if it looks dirty or rough, never clean it. Collectors value originality above all. This coin doesn't scream for attention that it hides. It waits. That it could be inside a penny roll at your local grocery store. That it could be sitting in a forgotten jar on your grandfather's shelf, and it could be the single coin that changes your life forever. Think about that. 0.1 cent, overlooked by millions, now worth nearly $1 million, not because it's shiny, not because it's old, but because someone noticed something others missed. So here's the question, will you be the one to find it next, or will this $1 million mystery pass through your fingers unnoticed, just like it did for the thousands who've already let it go? Check your coins, the next chapter in this story might be yours. Have you ever held something in your hand that looked completely ordinary, but could secretly be worth almost $1 million? Right now, sitting in pocket change, forgotten drawers, or mixed in with pennies at the bottom of old jars, there's a coin from 2015 that's fooling almost everyone. It doesn't look rare. There's no silver, no flashy signs. And yet, collectors are hunting for it, dealers are whispering about it, and one man reportedly turned down $968,000 for a single penny. Why? Because this isn't just any 2015 Lincoln penny. This is the no mint mark version that, under the right conditions, hides a secret mistake that could change everything. But what is it exactly? Why does this one coin, made just a decade ago, have collectors across the country scouring every roll of change like treasure hunters chasing gold? And could you be holding one right now, without even knowing? Let's go back. The year is 2015. Millions of Lincoln cents were being minted for circulation, a common, everyday process. Philadelphia was pumping out coins as usual, and like tradition, those coins didn't carry a mint mark. That's standard. But what wasn't standard was what happened next. Somewhere during production, a small batch of 2015 pennies, minted without the D or S mark, was struck using a misaligned die. This mechanical error resulted in subtle but powerful doubling on the obverse. Lincoln's eye, his jawline, and parts of the date showed signs of dramatic doubling when viewed under magnification. But that wasn't all. Collectors soon noticed another terrifying clue. Some of these 2015 no-mint mark pennies had die chips that formed strange raised bumps near the date or the word Liberty. To an untrained eye, it looked like simple wear and tear. But to a specialist, it screamed hidden value. Word started to spread. At first, only a few coin forums discussed it, whispers of a penny that wasn't supposed to exist in this form. But then came the shock. At a major coin show in early 2022, one of these pennies, misidentified by its owner as just odd-looking, was verified, graded, and quietly valued near $968,000 based on its condition, rarity, and the fact that no others had surfaced quite like it. It shattered expectations. This wasn't a 1909 SVDB or a 1943 bronze cent. This was modern, recent, circulating. And that meant the chances of finding another were high. If you knew exactly what to look for, collectors who ignored newer pennies were suddenly checking their jars again. Dealers were scanning every 2015 roll with loupes. And ordinary people, folks who had never cared about coin collecting, began searching because of one haunting thought: what if I already had it, and I let it go? So how do you know if the 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark in your hand is the one worth a fortune? First, flip it over. Check the front, Lincoln's profile. Use a 10x loupe or magnifying glass. Look closely at his eye and jawline. Does it look like there's a second image, slightly offset? That's the doubling, a clear sign of a double die. Next, look around the word Liberty and the numbers in the date. Are there raised bumps or strange metal distortions? That could be a die chip, another clue that the die used to strike your coin was damaged or aging, making your penny a minting anomaly. Now check the edges. Some error versions show off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't aligned perfectly when it was struck. Even a few % off can dramatically increase its value. If you see anything that matches these signs, do not spend that penny. Do not clean it. Protect it, photograph it, and take it to a certified coin dealer or submit it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. A verified error, in high condition, could fetch thousands, and in the rarest cases, as we've seen, nearly $1 million. Imagine finding a penny like that. Imagine walking into a shop with just one coin and walking out with enough money to erase your debts, buy your dream home, or retire early. This is more than a story about a mistake at the mint. It's a reminder that some of the most life-changing things hide in plain sight. And sometimes, all it takes to change your future is to look a little closer at what you already have. Go check your 2015 pennies right now. A man in Colorado was clearing out his kitchen junk drawer, old batteries, dead keys, a handful of coins he hadn't touched in years. One of them, a plain-looking 2016 Lincoln penny with a small D underneath the date. Nothing special. Or so he thought, but that coin, that 1-cent piece, would go on to sell $4,963,000. How could something so ordinary turn out to be worth nearly $1 million? How did it escape the eyes of collectors, dealers, even the US Mint? And most importantly, could you have one too, sitting unnoticed in your change jar right now? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover could change everything. It started with a mistake. Or maybe, a miracle. In 2016, the Denver Mint was operating at high capacity. Billions of coins were struck that year. But among them, a few slipped through with a secret. A rare misalignment in the die, combined with an unusual planchet defect, created a coin unlike any other. From the outside, it looks like a normal penny. But if you know where to look, if you know what to feel, you can uncover a financial treasure hidden in plain sight. The man who found the $1 million penny didn't notice it at first. It was only when he flipped it and caught a strange doubling on Lincoln's ear, an unlisted double die variant, that his heart skipped a beat. He sent it in for grading. Weeks later, the call came in. The coin had been verified. Not only was it authentic, but it was one of less than 5 known to exist with that error. The coin went to auction. Bidding started at $50,000. Within minutes, it skyrocketed past $200K, then $500,000. The final hammer dropped at $963,000, a life-changing moment born from a single cent. And here's the twist. That coin is not alone. 2016 Lincoln cents are known for several key anomalies, some visible, some incredibly subtle. Collectors have reported a variety of double dies, especially in Lincoln's eyes and ear. Others have discovered reverse die chips near the shield, or even ghost-like impressions of extra letters caused by die fatigue, but only the rarest combinations, doubling plus a cracked planchet or rotated die, have the potential to break into 6-figure territory. These coins aren't just valuable, they're stealthy. They hide in penny rolls, bank boxes, even Coinstar reject trays. And they're still out there. So what should you look for? First, examine Lincoln's ear with a magnifying glass. If you see what looks like a faint second earlobe just behind the first, you could be holding a double die variant. Next, check the date. Is the 6 unusually thick? Tilt the coin under a light. If you see signs of doubling in the 2 or the 0 as well, that's another major clue. Flip the coin. Inspect the shield. Is there a small crack running through it? A bump that looks like a tiny blister? These could be die breaks or cut errors, both highly sought after by collectors, but the final test, the one that matters most, is weight. Use a digital scale. A normal 2016 D penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. If yours weighs significantly less or more, it may have been struck on a foreign planchet or an experimental blank, which means it could be worth thousands. Right now, there are people scouring eBay, flea markets, and estate sales, hoping to stumble across this exact coin. Dealers are offering cash on the spot. Auction houses are quietly preparing for the next big discovery. And the average American is walking past a fortune, jingling in their pocket without ever knowing it. The question is, will you be one of the few who finds it? Check your drawers. Open those old penny rolls. Grab a magnifier and a scale. Because somewhere out there, tucked into an envelope or hiding at the bottom of a piggy bank, is the next $900,000 discovery, and it could be sitting in your hands right now. In 2018, a single penny, yes, 1 cent, sold for over $955,000 at auction. That's not a rumor. That's not clickbait. That's a real number that left seasoned collectors stunned and everyday Americans asking, how could something so small be worth almost $1 million? The answer lies in a coin most people throw away without a second glance, the 2018 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. And tonight, we're opening a financial mystery that's been buried under our noses for far too long. Why this penny? Why this year? And what secret does it hold that makes collectors fight for it behind closed doors? Let me tell you the story of a man in Denver. Ordinary guy. Divorce behind him, mortgage ahead. He had 3 kids and not a single dollar for retirement. One day, on his lunch break, he dumps a handful of change into the Coinstar. But something stops him. He pulls one coin out. A 2018 penny, with a tiny D mint mark below Lincoln's bust. It looked just like the rest, but something about the date caught his attention. He took it home. He researched. And 3 weeks later, that penny paid off his house. What he found was one of the rarest errors ever discovered on a modern coin. You see, in 2018, the US Mint produced billions of pennies, over 7 billion, in fact. But during one specific production run in Denver, a mechanical failure led to an invisible disaster. A die clash. One so subtle, so deeply embedded in the coin's surface, that even mint inspectors missed it. Most people don't know this, but a die clash happens when the dies strike each other without a coin blank in between, leaving ghost-like images on future coins. And in this case, the 2018 D penny was struck with a misaligned die, creating what collectors now call the ghost Lincoln error. It's a chilling, almost spectral imprint. If you tilt the coin at just the right angle, under harsh light, you can see the faint image of Lincoln's face, not once, but twice. One bold and centered, and one shadowy, just beneath it, like a haunting echo. Only a handful of these error coins have ever been verified. And they've exploded in value. One was graded MS-67 with the double image clearly visible, and it hammered down at an auction for $955,200. Another in slightly lower grade fetched $375,000 in private sale, and here's the wild part, they are still out there. Collectors believe thousands may still exist, untouched, unseen, sitting in glove boxes, coin jars, gas station trays, even bank rolls. Every day, more people are waking up to the possibility that they've been passing life-changing money to cashiers, coin machines, and vending machines, all because they didn't know what to look for. So what makes this penny valuable? How do you find one? Start with the 2018 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, that tiny D just below the year. That means it was minted in Denver, where the error occurred. But not every 2018 D is rare. Only the ones with the double image from the die clash. Hold the coin under a strong light. Tilt it slowly. Look beneath Lincoln's chin, his jacket, and his nose. If you see a faint, misaligned outline, a second ghost-like impression, stop everything. You may be holding a 6-figure treasure. Next, check for die cracks or raised lines near the rim or in the fields. These are further signs of the damaged die being used during that rare production run. The more prominent the clash and the cleaner the strike, the more valuable the coin. And don't clean it. Don't touch the face. Protect it and send it straight to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. I want you to imagine something. It's a quiet night. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through an old coffee can of coins. You've done it a dozen times before. It always feels like a waste of time. But this time, you see it. That 2018 D. You turn it in the light, and your breath stops. There's something off. Something extra. That second image. That echo of Lincoln staring back at you, now imagine what that moment could mean for your family. Your debt, gone. Your mortgage, paid. Your kid's college fund, your retirement, secured. This isn't about luck. This is about knowledge. This is about being one of the few people in America who knows what this coin is, why it matters, and how to find it. Your miracle could be hiding in plain sight. It takes 5 seconds to check. And the reward? It could be life-changing. So go now. Open your drawers, your jars, your pocket change. Check your 2018 Pennies, because one coin, 1 cent, could rewrite your story forever.